What's good, everybody? Old Pop here, and it's officially 10 more days until Shadowlands. That means you guys get 10 more class guides out of me. Today, we're going to be going over the Hunter class, mainly focusing on Marksman. Survival does have its place. It's actually the meta destroyer right now because it seems like in Arena, a lot of the meta builds are double DPS, which Survival is excellent at kiting and beating melee classes. However, Marksman is the preferred choice for Rated Battlegrounds and still the preferred choice for Arena, although they've seen a little bit of nerfs. A lot of the things have remained the same. Hunter is one of those classes right now, specifically Marksman, that everything isn't as clear cut in terms of covenants, conduits, and all that type of stuff. But I'm going to give you the best information that I can give you from things that I found from pro players and skill capped. And along with that, I'm going to be going over talents, PvP talents, race, soulbinds, covenants, conduits, and legendary abilities. So we're going to jump into it right now. First, we're going to start off with the talent build and the PvP talents. But before we start that, I just want to say if you've been enjoying my content and liking all the stuff that I've been putting out, I would greatly appreciate any like or sub to my channel. So that being said, let's jump into it. So we're going to go over the talent build and the PvP talents first, and then from there, we're going to move on to the race and all that stuff like that. So, first up on the list, we have Master Marksman. Your ranged special attacks, critical strike, cause the target to bleed for an additional 15% of the damage dealt over 6 seconds. Right now, this is actually pretty crucial because hunters have huge crits, especially at an aim shot. They could two-hit people from popping out of camouflage. Most of the time in Arena, you have a stealth opening. So because of that, this can do big damage over those 6 seconds. Next, we have Careful Aim. Aim shot deals 50% bonus damage to targets who are above 70% health. Like I just mentioned with aim shot is a big part of marksman hunters and why they're so good right now. So anything that can beef up aim shot is beneficial. This is especially with this bonus. This is why they could just destroy targets from the jump if they get the jump on them with camouflage. This is also why they're great in BGs because they could just sit back and just fire aim shots. It's pretty crazy what they can do right now. Next up, clear cut. There is no doubt about it. You want camouflage. As I mentioned, you have a stealth beginning with Arena or in BGs. You could always pop into stealth. It's also good to have this ability from Fiend's Deathing. And then from there, you could go into camouflage because you got out of combat. A lot of things right now can help your Fiend Death get poisons off of you and things like that, or reduce damage, so you could just go right into camouflage. So this is definitely a good one to have. I'm going to read it to you. You and your pet blend into the surroundings and gain stealth for 1 minute. While camouflage, you will heal for 2% of maximum health every 1 second. Another thing about Marksmanship Hunter, which makes them better than BM and Survival right now, is this ability right here, Lone Wolf. Damage dealt increased by 10% when you don't have a pet. So, for the majority of the time, there are going to be exceptions that you have to pull out your pet quick to do a quick CC. If you have a spider, you shoot a web, or there's certain ones that do other abilities that you have to pull them out really quick. Also, one of the PvP talents, Roar of Sacrifice, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, forces you to pull out your pet quickly. Other than that, you do not need your pet. And the reason why this is important right now is pets are getting absolutely demolished, especially by AoE damage. That's a problem, especially for Survival and especially for BM, because a lot of their abilities and moves require their pet to be alive and active. With Res Pet being a 4-second cast, this is crucial. So, with all that, you definitely 100% want to be MM right now, Marksman. Next up, again, clear-cut choice is Chimera Shot, a two-headed shot that hits your primary target for 285 nature damage, and another nearby target for 143 frost damage. The reason why this is also really good is in Arena, a lot of times people will be clumped up, or they'll be at least closer to their healer, so now you're doing a little bit extra pressure. Next, this is another one. It's pretty much the clear cut because this is giving you a little bit additional mobility, especially after you disengage. So, disengage also frees you from all movement impairing effects and increases your movement speed by 50% for 4 seconds. This is definitely the option. Now, for the bottom 2 rows, there's 2 different options that you can take, but I'm going to get into both of them. So, I'm going to go over the main one first. So, the main one is going to be double tap. So your aim shot will fire a second time instantly at 100% power without consuming focus on your next rapid fire, or your next rapid fire will shoot 100% additional shots during its channel. Obviously, I just mentioned that aim shot is where your main damage comes from, where your main burst is coming from. It obviously also goes with true shot. Everything is built around beefing up your aim shot or additional crit for it. So this is the preferred option. I have seen some people doing Deadeye. I don't think it's the best choice. This is definitely the choice, but I'll read it to you because some people have been taking it. Kill Shot has 2 charges and causes aim shot to recharge 60% faster for 3 seconds. So this is definitely the preferred, but I have seen scenarios where people have been picking Deadeye. For the next one, it's going to be Lock and Load as the preferred choice. Your ranged auto attacks have an 8% chance to trigger Lock and Load, causing your next aim shot to cost no focus and be instant. Obviously, you want this. Like I said, everything's about your aim shot. This will stack it all together. True shot beefs it up even further. So because of that, you definitely want this. Anything that can make your aim shot instant and proc without having that. How long is the cast again? I forgot. 2.3 seconds. It's a rather long cast, especially in current day WoW. So because of that, you definitely want to get it instant. I have seen people doing volley. Again, lock and load is preferred, but I'll read you volley anyway. Rain a volley of arrows down over 6 seconds, dealing 1,291 physical damage to any enemy in the area. This is great, but what it's really about is and gain the effect of trick shots for as long as volley is active. That's really why people have been picking this, not so much the AoE damage. So now we're going to get into the PvP talents. First one, we're going to go over Scatter Shot because it's guaranteed that the hunter is always going to have this. A short range shot that deals 18 damage, again it's not about the damage, removes all harmful damage over time effects and incapacitates the target for 4 seconds. Any damage will remove the effect. So this is basically like a quick CC, how like your sleep used to be. Any damage though is going to get it out, so it could stop a big burst incoming. It starts off a CC chain. You could Scatter Shot into a trap, so it's good to have. Next up, again, most of the time this is always picked. Fiend Death removes all harmful magical effects, as I mentioned that earlier, which is why you could go into camo afterwards, camouflage, and reduces damage taken by 99% for 1.5 seconds. This is definitely the clear cut. Now this is how I mentioned earlier why you'll bring out your pet sometimes. This is a big reason why. Roar of Sacrifice. Instructs your pet to protect a friendly target from critical strikes, making attacks against the target unable to be critical hit. But 20% of all damage taken by the target is also taken by the pet. Like I said, you're using your pet as basically a tank. It's absorbing. It's kind of similar to a warrior's intervene. Obviously, it's different abilities, but similar in style. The pet goes to the target and protects the friendly target. So this is why you'll be pulling out your pet sometimes. Just keep in mind, like I said, pets are squishy right now. They will take heavy, heavy damage. And I'm going to go over one of the other ones that people have been swapping in based on scenarios. It's High Explosive Trap. Hurls a fire trap to the target's location that explodes when an enemy approaches it, causing 190 fire damage and knocking all enemies away. Trap will exist for 1 minute, so it's a pushback, which obviously is good for hunters. You don't want anybody on you, so there's certain scenarios where people have been picking that. Again, Marksman seems to be the better choice when you're going up against casters, whereas Survival is better up against melees. But for Arena and RBGs right now, Marksman is 100% the choice. Now that we've done that, we're going to get into all the other things, which is, your race, conduits, covenants, and it's going to be a little bit longer than my other videos, only because it's not as clear-cut as I said, especially in terms of the covenant that you pick, because there's 2 good options. People are more favoring the Necrolords, but Kyrian gives one really good ability that is making people choose that as well, which is Resonating Arrow, but we'll get into that shortly, so here we go. Okay, so now that we went over the PvP talent and your regular talents preferred for PvP, we're going to get the races out of the way. If you've been watching my other videos, I've been saying this, but obviously for newcomers that haven't been watching me, there's 2 clear-cut races that are always what you're going to choose if your class can be them. So the first is Human. The reason why is Will to Survive. It gets you out of all, their passive ability gets you out of all stun effects, and it has a 3-minute cooldown, which makes it that you don't need to necessarily pick the insignia or whatever gladiator's medallion, whatever era you played in, that you know what I'm talking about, the trinket that gets you out of things. Instead, now you can double stack damage trinkets and have additional burst. If you're going to be Horde, the clear-cut winner is Orc, and the reason being is for two different reasons. Number one is the ability that you get called Blood Fury, which increases attack power for additional damage. But the main reason is the passive ability, Hardiness, which reduces stun duration on you for 20%, which is definitely a big deal in terms of PvP. Now that we got the races out of the way, we're going to move on to Covenants. So as I mentioned earlier, everything isn't as clear cut. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over Kyrian really quick. I just want to say Necrolord is the preferred, and that's what I'm mainly going to focus on. But real quick, I'm going to go over Kyrian because some people are picking it because of this ability, Resonating Arrow. You fire a Resonating Arrow to the target location that deals 20% additional attack power, arcane damage to any enemy in the area, and fill the area with Echoing Anemia for 10 seconds. The effect causes your attacks to ignore line of sights to enemies in that area, and you have 30% increased critical strike chance against them. So this obviously, if you've been watching my other videos in tier list and things like that, I've been mentioning this ability. It's very good. You ignore line of sight and it increases your critical strike to the target. So this is definitely a big deal. But as of recent changes, Necrolord is preferred. So we're going to get into that. But like I said, people have been picking this. Everything isn't as clear cut with Hunter. So, as I mentioned, Necrolord is the preferred choice. The person that you'll be choosing that is the preferred option for Marksman Hunter is Plague Divisor Marilith. This is the route that you'll be taking. This is the preferred PvP arena build that you'll be picking for the talent tree. I know it's not a talent tree, but you know what I mean, the soulbind tree and conduit tree. And as you can see, all the abilities that are there, I'm going to go over those now. You're going to pick 3 potency abilities and 1 finesse abilities, and now we're going to go over that after I go through the soulbinds quick. So first and foremost, the main reason for picking Necrolord is getting this ability. Throw a deadly chakram at your current target that will rapidly deal shadow damage 7 times, bouncing to other targets if they are nearby. Each time chakram deals damage, its damage is increased by 15% and you generate 3 focus. So this is the main reason why Necrolord is the choice. Obviously, you do get additional abilities. I'm going to go over Fleshcraft and things that go along with that, but this is the main reason why it works well with Hunters. So Fleshcraft is another ability that you're going to receive, which is great for picking Necrolords. What Fleshcraft does is forms a shield of flesh and bone over 4 seconds and absorbs damage equal to 20% of your maximum health for 2 minutes. Also, channeling near a corpse claims their essence and grows your shield up to 50% of your maximum health. There's also a passive ability that goes along with this, and I'm going to go over that now. So this ability is called Ultimate Form, and it goes hand in hand with Fleshcraft. While channeling Fleshcraft, you are immune to CC. Finishing the full channel grants another 4 seconds of crowd control immunity. This is obviously fantastic for PvP, especially for Arena. It could stop a CC chain, and you definitely need this combo together. And now finally we have our last Soulbind ability, which is going to be called Ooze Frictionless. When reduced below 50% health, Ooze courses over you, granting you a shield for 10% of your maximum health for 20 seconds. This is another great piece for Hunters, especially because they don't have a lot of self-healing. If you're going to be doing double DPS and no healer for 2v2s, it's just an additional thing to have. That's why all these, durability abilities are great for Hunters. Now, like I just said, that's the last Soulbind ability. Now we're going to finally get into the Conduits. So as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be 3 potency conduits and 1 finesse. This will be the first potency one, which is Necrotic Barrage. Death Chakram generates an additional 2 focus and the damage is increased by 5%. Obviously, this is going hand in hand with the first thing that I showed. That I said this was the main reason why we're picking Necrolords, which is Death Chakram. So this goes hand in hand with that, increasing its power. So the next potency conduit is going to be Powerful Precision. Precise shots increase the damage of your next arcane shot or multi-shot by additional 5%. Obviously, you're not going to be picking arcane shot, you're going to be picking Chimera shot, so it increases that by 5%. So our final potency conduit is going to be Brutal Projectiles. Your auto attacks have a 10% chance to cause your next rapid fire to deal 1% increased damage for each shot. So this is obviously great because rapid fire increases your speed. Now it's also increasing damage, so this is a great addition to have. And for our final conduit ability, and the only finesse conduit that we're going to be choosing, is Tactical Retreat. Disengage slows nearby enemy movement speed by 20% for 3 seconds. The reason why this is really crucial, because now you're stacking post haste with this. So now not only are you reducing their speed by 20%, but you're increasing your movement speed by 50%. So this is actually a really big differential, because now it's a 70% differential. It's nice to get away. Now, finally, we're up to our legendary abilities. This is the preferred choice. However, I know what it says there. It has been nerfed. It has a different ability. I haven't got an image of what it does, but I'm going to tell you what it does. So, obviously, it's called Serpent Stalker's Trickery. What it used to be, which is what I'm going to read to you, is when aim shot hits multiple targets from the trick shot effect, 3 enemies struck by the aim shot also get hit by an arcane shot and or Tremere shot if you had that. Now, that's not what it does anymore. Instead of arcane shot, it does a serpent sting. Now, everyone thought that this was going to affect Hunter's burst dramatically, and it does affect its burst like a rather large amount. However, they are still one of the best bursters in the game. They're probably top 5 still. If not, they're right on the outside of the top 5 at number 6. They still have really strong burst with aim shot regardless of this happening. And now, instead of just having immediate instant burst, you're putting a dot on the target. So it's not like it's necessarily bad. It's just, it's like, instead of instant, it's a little bit more delayed. It's still a good ability. It's still the preferred choice. And I'm going to show you what the second option you can choose if you don't want this one. So this would be your second option, which is Cravern. Fiend Death, cooldown reduced by 15 seconds, and Fiend Death now removes most negative status effects from yourself. So now with the PvP talent that removes magical effects, now you're also removing most negative effects. So if you notice the trend here with marksman hunters in general, you're really beefing up your aim shot for damage, and you're beefing up your Fiend Death as your durability get out of bad situations. So that's really the two things that stack up consistently throughout. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content that I've been putting out. I'm really trying to inform everyone before Shadowlands. After today, there will be 9 days remaining, and there will be 9 more classes that I need to go over. So, like I said, I hope that you guys have been enjoying it. If you have been, I would greatly appreciate any sub to my channel. And as always, thank you all for tuning in.